30 minutes to 45 minutes to kick off. Whatever you want to do on a Sunday. It's week number 12. It's Donnie Wrights out here, and it's Tom Vecchio. We got a good board to talk about, Tom. Some blowouts on the card, but what we like the best is what a clean day of weather, man. We're not worried about any of that nonsense.
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked about that earlier in the week, and, we're getting to the point in the season that I don't know how many more weeks of clean weather we have left. And as you mentioned, we have some large favorites. We have some good props to get to. It is a loaded slate.
Now, we should have a really good time today going over those games. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games today on the card. The 4 o'clock slate, 4:05, that is Jacksonville and Arizona, and also Cleveland and Las Vegas, which is an interesting game to me. The 2 4:25 games, I don't think anybody's watching Atlanta and New Orleans, to be quite honest with you. It will be Philadelphia and Dallas, but the 1 o'clock slate, we'll get to the bigger games, which includes, Tom, that Indy-Colts game. Indianapolis and Kansas City. That's a 1 o'clock game. That surprises me. It does.
It really does, and it's a super interesting spot with Indy coming off a bye. The Chiefs 3.5 line is really tough to bet. It is, and I don't see a world where I would want to lay the 3.5 with Kansas City just based on the way that they played. But the Chiefs are up against it. Like everyone talks about, if the playoffs started today, the Chiefs wouldn't be in it. I think this is an extremely tough game to bet. And knowing that the Colts are dealing with a Daniel Jones calf injury, does that just point them to a full Jonathan Taylor game?
Yeah, it should be fun to watch this play out and how it goes here. But, Tom, let's get started on the first game here listed, and that is Pittsburgh and Chicago, 1 o'clock start. And you see there, circle the wagons right here, it's Mason Rudolph going up against Caleb Williams and not Aaron Rodgers. Let's start here, Tom. What happened when you heard that news today that it wasn't going to be Aaron Rodgers?
Not much changed for me. Like there was the report yesterday from Schefter saying that Rodgers, is pushing to play, team doctors, this, that, or the other thing. Ultimately, even with him in, their offense hasn't been great. So I'm trying to think of what is the actual downgrade going from Rodgers to Rudolph? I would think that the deep ball potential is less, but picking up first downs, relying on Warren should still be the game plan for the Steelers. I don't think they want to turn this into a shootout. I think the Bears comfortably could score 24, maybe 30 points. I don't know if the Steelers could do that. They want to win this game ugly.
Yeah, just had that picture up there. For the windy city of Chicago, Tom, in late November at 50-degree temperatures, light wind, and no precipitation. That's phenomenal. Yeah. Now, if you do see some of these lines, they've been bouncing around all morning here. You take a look at the 1.5 here at the opening at FanDuel, now up to 2.5, 3s across the board. We were as high as 3.5 for a brief moment. But if I look at I took the Chicago Bears in my pick 'em early in the week at the 2.5. I actually wanted Aaron Rodgers to play in this game because I don't think he'd be able to protect himself. I don't think he'd be comfortable in the pocket extending plays, knowing that if he gets whacked across that wrist, it could end the season and or just cause a fumble at this point. So it is interesting for me that Rudolph is in. Now, if you do look at the injury situations in this game, you say, well, what do the Bears bring to the table now if Aaron Rodgers is injured? All 3 of their linebackers are down, but here's the issue I have with that, because we're going to scroll down here to the Chicago Bears and take a look at some of these prop bets, and we'll start here with the rushing props, Tom. Jaylen Warren at 61.5. Are you nervous? Because he left the game last week, he's a little banged up. Now, granted, he was limited practice this week. He's off the actual injury report, but that still gets me nervous. It does.
It really does, especially knowing that Kenneth Gainwell, may not be the greatest back, but he's a competent backup. He's among the higher tier backups that we have in the league. So if they needed to, even if Warren, let's say he doesn't get hurt, but even if they decided to ease off of Warren and go with a 60-40 split in the backfield, that would just take away chances from Warren. So I would like to believe in the spot for Warren based on the Bears missing their three starting linebackers, but I'm not sure if the usage will be there confidently enough for him to get there.
Yeah, you take a look at also some of these passing props here, Tom, on FanDuel. Caleb, 217.5. Mason Rudolph, 216.5. Almost side-by-side. Touchdown props here. 2 touchdowns for Mason Rudolph is 2. I don't love this game. But, again, if I was entering this and saying, if there's one player who I do like here, it's if Jaylen Warren was healthy, I really would like him today, Tom. Touchdown prop to get in the end zone, rushing prop to the over, love it all for him. But I don't want to see that, look, it's going to be more of a split backfield, which I'm not saying Gainwell can't steal some carries because he does on a week-to-week basis. But just that injury information, and even though he's been cleared, still made me apprehensive.
It does. And with Mason Rudolph in there, to me, this seems like it's just like all hands on deck. It's just like whatever we can do to keep it close. And it has to be, if Warren's not going to be the guy, they just go with the hot hand. It has to be 60-40. We're going to get, Darnell Washington involved, the tight end involved. And it's like whatever they have to do to win, I think they'll do. And that can take away the consistency that we should be getting from Warren.
Yeah, other than me liking the Chicago Bears to win this game, Tom, do you like any other prop bets on the board here in this game or any other?
I don't. I like the Bears to win. The 2.5 to 3s moved around. Absolutely get the 2.5 with the Bears. They've had enough of their own kicker issues over the years, but get the Bears and move on.
No doubt. At game number 2, we'll talk about the Jets, with Tyrod Taylor, quarterback, no longer Justin Fields, taking on Lamar Jackson. Jackson was cleared later in the week. You saw that, ankles, hamstrings, knees, they've all been popping up on him over the past couple weeks here, but he's cleared to go. And look at that number, 14.5 at the opening price point, Tom. 13.5, 14 at BetMGM, 14 at Bet365 here in Jersey. 70% of that ticket count coming in on Baltimore. The public expecting a blowout. What changes for you with the Jets? Because I do think they have a more fluid offense, but a part of what made the Jets go, to be honest, was just the running around of their quarterback because they don't have much talent outside of that.
They really don't. The most interesting part of this game, Donnie, and I assume you have your eye on this, and just for a little insight for people, just Donnie, as we talked about when we did the baseball show every Sunday, we would not talk leading up to the show. Like we do the shows during the week, but we would not discuss specifics. And then when we'd come to the show and we'd have the exact same take or be looking at the same way, we shouldn't be surprised. The touchdown scores, Donnie.
Yes.
It is Derrick Henry at minus money. Everyone else on the Ravens is plus money. The Ravens have a 29.5 team total. They're expected to score 4 touchdowns, and every other player besides Henry is at plus money. So if you are looking for value, as we always say, you could just go Flowers, Andrews. You want to throw in likely whatever it is. Someone's going. Derrick Henry's not going to have 4 touchdowns today.
Correct. And by the way, he was a lot higher also than 220 at some outlets this week, which you're pricing some of those top guys out. But as Tom talks about, he's right. The correlated market where you're saying they're going to score 4 times. Derrick Henry on a really good day, Tom. That's 2 touchdowns, which leaves 2 touchdowns with a ton of guys out there with big-time plus money. So if I was doing that double touch, and by the way, I like Zay Flowers today. I was waiting this week to make sure Bateman didn't come back. It's a bad Jets defense. Sauce Gardner no longer there anymore. The pass rush isn't what it is. Queenan Williams has moved on there, obviously, to Dallas. I do think there's a chance that Baltimore, do you want to take the 13.5? If I had to pick it, I'd say they do cover the 2 touchdowns. That's what Baltimore does at home. But I said to myself, I like Zay Flowers in this game. The passing game will be built on him. Yes, I think Derrick Henry scores a touchdown. I'm not paying that price. Lamar usually throws 2 touchdowns, but in this game, I'm looking at Zay Flowers there, doing his job. I think he's around that 60.5 number. Let me see where he sits right here on game day for his receiving props. He's 64.5 now, so he's up a little bit. Do you like anybody in this game from a Jets line? Because I always thought, we don't like to outsmart ourselves, but Tyrod is a better passer, obviously, than we know Justin Fields is. Mason Taylor got a lot of targets, or at least the lion's share, which wasn't very many, under Justin Fields. A.D. Mitchell's an interesting one to me. They sort of tried to force feed him the ball last week. Mechie, Hall, any one of those guys for the Jets you're looking at?
I wouldn't mind going A.D. Mitchell or Hall are the 1-2 for me. And in either 1A, 1B, I don't think there's a clear order. But, they did – I'm not going to say again, they didn't trade for A.D. Mitchell for a reason. They got him as a part of the Sauce Gardner deal. But he has a chance to elevate himself to be the number 1 wide receiver since Garrett Wilson isn't there. They don't have anyone else to throw to. So give me Mitchell, give me Hall. You want to take just one of them, I think that's fine. It's a coin flip for me, but it's not exciting.
Let's see what happens here. I've just knocked out the wrong button. Let me get this back up. Hold on. What are we doing here? It's about me knocking around these scenes right here. Let me see how this could. So I knocked that. This is how we do it live on the air. Like this?
Absolutely.
All right. Let me see here. So if I go back to my screen, and how would I do that, though? Because I'm going to bring in, that's my second view. But I just want to hit the screen view on this. Did I knock myself out? I got it. Hold on. This is how we do it.
We do it live.
Screen share. Let's go back. Let's click it. Hey.
There we go.
Who says we're on text at this point right now? All right, let's get to the next game here, Tom, that's listed. That's Detroit, and that's New York. And this line was under 10 points. Now it's up to 13.5 to 14, even at DraftKings. Total of 50.5. Jameis Winston is quarterback. I think that's the right move. Give your guy Jackson Dart another week. But looking at this line, if there's ever a get-right game for your offense, this is probably it for Detroit. Now, granted, everybody probably thinking the same way, Tom. Look at the ticket count, 76% as we're talking about it. How do we feel about this Giants game, or particularly the Detroit offense against that Giants defense in a dome today?
I feel like I'm kicking myself about this because earlier in the week when the line was 10.5, I had talked about alting the Lions line up to 13.5, because if they're going to cover 10.5, they're probably going to cover 13.5. They'll win by 2 touchdowns, and they often blow out teams at home, especially coming off of a loss. And granted, it was 10.5 the line. The 13.5 was only like plus 112, but I forgot to bet it. Right. And this happens sometimes doing all these shows, talking about the same thing in my mind. I think I've taken care of it, but and now it's up to 13.5. So my inclination was right that the Lions are just going to steamroll them. And that's what we should be getting. Really do like David Montgomery today. I think he should get back in the mix. And we often see David Montgomery playing a larger role once the Lions are leading and out ahead. He doesn't play a huge role in games that they're close because he doesn't play a whole big role in the passing game. I think they blow through the Giants. I think they drop at least 35 today.
No, I'm with you on that because this is and when we talk about like team totals and such, and this is the difference, Tom. Like earlier in the week, the Detroit Lions to score over 3.5 touchdowns was minus 125. It's probably higher today because that number is going a little bit higher since Jameis Winston was in there. But it's that same price point saying, okay, can they get the 31.5 or 30.5, whatever their number was?
32.5. My God.
What's that?
It's 32.5 now.
Yeah, which is crazy. Which again is that whole function of what would you rather take, the over 3.5 touchdowns minus 125 or like their team total? And you look, Dan Campbell doesn't kick field goals. Like you're not going to get 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals out of Detroit. That's not what they do, unless it's end of half or 4th and 19 from the 25-yard line. They're going to score touchdowns. I love their touchdown prop when it comes to it. Talk to me about this though, because like this price point is high, minus 192. If Don, if it's a free bet, you have free money. Would you take Jared Goff to throw over 2 touchdowns? Absolutely, I would today. Sam Laporta being down makes this very interesting because then it goes from, well, who's actually going to catch the touchdowns? Is it Amon-Ra St. Brown has a great chance to do it? Is it Jameson Williamson on a deep shot? He has a great chance to do that. But now I take a look at Tom and say, you're right. Like Montgomery and Gibbs just get increased touchdowns because Laporta is not there as that I'm going right over the middle dump pass.
It really is. And Gibbs' touchdown line is minus 425. I don't remember seeing like – we've seen CMC, we've seen Derrick Henry, we've seen these lines. I don't remember seeing one past 400. 250, 300, sure, but past 400 is crazy. So to see them both score would not be a surprise. To see Goff go over the 1.5 is crazy. The one thing I would note about the team total, Donnie, it's 32.5. Dan Campbell doesn't settle for field goals, and they want to make a statement after a terrible loss.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just be interested in them having 35 points? Like
yes.
Them,
yes.
So them having over 34.5 to them to get to 35, obviously, again, not settling for field goals, only touchdowns, is plus 134. So, like I said, I do want to take the team totals at 32.5. It's like, might as well. If they're getting to 32.5, they're getting to 35.
Correct.
That's
the
point.
Points. No, it's a good outlet that you have because what are the chances, right? They score 33 points. It's like, oh, I burned myself. Well, I mean, come on now. It's the same thing where it's like, when you use that, hey, if it's going to be, 10.5, bump it to 13.5. Like, oh, they might win by 11 or 12. Yeah, they could. Of course they can. But they're probably going to win by 15, 16, or 20 plus points. You put the plus money in your pocket. The past couple weeks, I've been looking at some of those prop bets, Tom, like a little bit different. Like plus money. Well, if I think he's going to get 45 yards, why can't he get to 50 yards and give me a plus 108 as opposed to a minus 112 at that point? So I'm starting to get a little bit more into that like realm. Talk to the people. Do you look at it that way sometimes where it's like, if he's going to get 68.5 yards, he's probably getting 75.
Yeah. So, and it depends on what your books offer. I like to do that when the player is, how do I describe it? Like at the low end. So like if a player's at 65,
17.5. Yeah.
So if a player's at 65 or 66, I won't take him to 70. If the player's at 61, I would take him to 70. So if they're at the lower end of the ladder, if he's at like 42, I'll take him to 50. I won't take him at 48 to 50, if that makes sense.
Because what I did on Monday was Tom Pickens was like 62.5. I took him to 70 at plus 110.
Yeah, see, that's the perfect spot.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like, okay, because you never want to burn yourself by saying, all right, it's this. He's probably going to get limited. He's 33.5. Well, let me bump him to 50. He probably only is going to get 4 targets in that game anyway. When you got the high end guys, that you have a chance that you can get 10 targets in that game, you can certainly press the down. But Gibbs at 425 is absolutely insane there. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game today. Sometimes, Tom, I find myself saying I don't take touchdown props a lot unless they're plus money. Like do I think Amon-Ra scores? Yes, I do. Do I think Gibbs scores? Yes, I do. But you know what? I feel more comfortable with, Singletary had a couple chances plus 195. Not saying I'm taking him, but I like that plus money higher. But for me, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown last week, a lot of targets against the Eagles, didn't work out. They asked both the quarterback and the wide receiver. We're on the same page, just wasn't clicking. It's one of those, again, you think it's 35 points today. They're clicking today. Hey, look at that. They have 7 at the break against the Giants. I just don't see it today.
I see in the worst case scenario, like 17 points at halftime. And this is going to be one of the games where at halftime we'll roll around and Goff will be like 15 of 17 for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's going to be one of those games for him.
Yeah. Next up, Tom, New England and Cincinnati. Thought we might
Yeah.
get a look there at, Burrow coming back to this game. He's not going to be there. It's going to be Flacco getting 50.5. That number flirted with 7.5s and 8.5s early in the week. Got down below a touchdown. We thought it might be Burrow. Back over 7 at the point right here. I look at this game and say, I'm really impressed by New England. I really am. And you have, again, weather conditions are fantastic in Cincinnati, one of the worst defenses. I think Drake May has a day. I think New England moves the football. I don't know if I want to bet the 7.5, but from a team perspective on New England, you get Booty back at wide receiver here. There's a lot to like about that offense going up against Cincinnati today.
It really is. Ramondre Stevenson will be back. It's going to be a bit of a split backfield. I will say, this is the perfect example of knowing when to place your bet and getting the best number. Because if you had, like you said, the Pats at 6.5, that is, I'm not going to say dramatically different compared to 7.5, but it is a big difference.
Sure.
And knowing that is huge. The issue I have with the Pats is, Donnie, when you look at their receiving props, and this is a good example. This is an example for a lot of teams across the league. Diggs at 59, Hunter Henry at 39. Kayshon Boutte stepped up at times. He's at 30.5. Mac Hollins has put together some big games recently. He's at 23.
Yeah.
Diggs is the guy, but after that, it's really, really jumbled up. We don't know who is going to get the ball. So a part of me is almost wary of the Pats today because I just don't know who to bet. I could easily see them score 28, but since their offense is so spread out, we don't get one consistent option. Donnie, if I said that Steph Diggs went under his prop, but Henderson, Henry, Boutte, Mac Hollins all went over, would you be surprised? It's no, because 4 of the 5 guys are going to have nice games today. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, Boutte's back there, 30.5. Now, take a look at this. Now, here's one of those interesting parts, Tom, where I say to myself, should Drake May throw 2 touchdowns today? Yes. You're like, well, I don't want to pay minus 200. I'm going to put up a tab right here. And this is scores and odds, which tells you, who has the best numbers. Look at this price discrepancies, Tom. Minus 210 at Bet365, minus 200 at MGM, minus 186 there at DraftKings, minus 190 at Caesars. Look at FanDuel, minus 168. You're getting almost like a 50-cent shot from some of these outlets coming back.
And this is important. Not enough people talk about this, and obviously there are a ton of tools this across the industry where you should be looking for the best odds. And people will say, I only want to use one sports book.
I know.
The example I use is if you were driving down the street and there's a mobile here and a Shell there, you're always just going to go to the cheaper one. That's just what it comes down to. Everyone's what happens if one's more crowded? That's not, you can't use that example when you're opening up an app on your phone. Just have the other app. You don't want to be giving away money when you're fighting against the books every day. And find the best lines, and that is a massive difference.
Where you're at, sometimes let's just say Connecticut. I'm in New Jersey. If I tell somebody, hey, I'm in New Jersey, I only use FanDuel. What are you doing?
That's
One
crazy.
second, you could deposit money on another account and save 40 cents on a bet. You should be doing that here. But that's why I just wanted to bring that up, where I wasn't falling in love with Drake May because I was like, this price point is crazy. But I started to take a look at some of the other books and say to myself, this is so much lower than everywhere else. It's actually worth paying the juice for at that point. So that's where we're leaving it at that point here. Yeah. By the way, what do you think about T. Higgins today, 69.5? If we think, let's just say we're getting high 20s out of New England, Cincinnati is going to score. Who's the Cincinnati guy today?
Is Higgins' reception prop still 5.5, or did that move to 6.5?
Let's see.
Total receptions, it's still 5.5. I would take 5.5 receptions. He's probably going to see Christian Gonzalez, so the coverage is going to be tough for him. But I would, and I always prefer yards over receptions, but this is a spot I may actually prefer receptions over yards. It will be Andre Yoshibash's wide receiver 2, and they did activate Mike Gesicki off of IR, but I still like Higgins today.
Yeah. All right, let's go back here and take a look at another blowout here. We get a lot of these today on a late November day. Seattle and Tennessee, Tom, the 12.5s, they're still on the board at this point all the way through as we go. And by the way, a lot of people cracking in on the 14s now for Detroit. So we see 2 games in that 1 o'clock hour at 14, and then we go down to another game at 12.5. 41.5. Here's my issue, Tom. I think Seattle should be able to go up and down the field. Let me just bring in, let's see, let me find this one here. We'll go to this tab. If I say, forget the touchdown scoring market, but the touchdown passers. Tennessee is bad, but Seattle's a very good offense. Somebody has to score. If we're penciling in 3.5 touchdowns higher or lower, we're probably, Jackson Smith and Jigba going to get one himself. Can we get touchdown passes today in this game?
Yeah. I spoke to you earlier in the week about Sam Darnold. I really like Sam Darnold today.
Not
over
bad.
1.5 passing touchdowns. And, this is a great matchup, and he's coming off a disgusting game. 4 interceptions. Seattle had a chance to win that game despite how badly he played. This is just a spot for the Seahawks to take control and right the ship, and he throws multiple passing touchdowns. I think they run away with this game. I love the fact that everyone on Seattle is plus money for a touchdown, and they have a 26.5 team total. JSN should be scoring this week. It's really that simple.
And 94.5. You take a look too, Rashid Shaheed, 31.5, Cooper Kupp, 32.5. But also, like, if you look at those passing props quickly, because I don't even have any bets in this game, but 184.5 for Cam Ward. Look at the touchdown. The touchdown prop for a guy. This isn't a first. He's a rookie, yes. He started now, what, 10 games? A half at minus 138. They should be getting blown out. Can he throw a half today?
I would like to think so. Their offense just doesn't have enough competent pieces. That's what it comes down to, especially Calvin Ridley's done for the year. There's no one in the receiving game that I would say, like, that's the guy I want to bet on. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, they had there's too many options that are just so subpar that I don't know if they move the ball efficiently and see it even close to the red zone. It have to be a broken play in order to score.
Yeah, double down on this one, too. Kenneth Walker III. I know he's banged up a little bit this week, but he's playing. Zach Charbonnet.
One of them is going to score.
One of them is going to score a touchdown. I believe that, too, as well, as way it plays out. All right, next game up here on the tab. Let's go. It's Minnesota and it's Green Bay, Tom. Number has not moved all week off this 6.5 total. 43.5 down to 41.5. Announced before the game, Josh Jacobs will not play in this game. I've been underwhelmed with the Green Bay offense for a couple weeks now. Yes, they made a couple key plays against the Giants. They probably should have lost that game. They were playing that bad. I was so disheartened. I had McCarthy last week. I think it was 205.5, 210.5, something in that range, 215.5. I watched that whole game back. He was brutal, Tom. Like, what do we get out of McCarthy today?
So I'm on the Vikings plus 6.5.
I am on the Vikings, too.
I am. Listen, the Packers offense has been terrible. Like you said, they could have lost last week to the Giants. Love got hurt. He comes back. He throws the 2 passing touchdowns for me. Shout out to Love. Jacobs isn't playing today. Tucker Kraft is done for the season. Reed is still out. Matthew Golden is still out. The Vikings offense has looked terrible. However, I want to say that the Vikings defense under Brian Flores is still competent enough. And if there's a team to be picked off today as a home favorite, I think it's the Packers. A divisional matchup, you take the Vikings, you are betting on their defense. You're not betting on McCarthy, really. You're betting on their defense to come through against an injured and inefficient Packers offense currently. That's how I think I'm looking at it. I like the Vikings today.
Look at that, 1.5 at plus 200 McCarthy. He pisses me off so much because we always like to buy low as opposed to buy high. I just couldn't find myself. Look at, and again, this is an outstanding number. Like 63.5. I don't care who Justin Jefferson is playing. It's almost like he should. And I can't stay because he pissed me off so bad last week with JJ. I don't know if I can do that. Like, I don't like Justin Jefferson last week getting balls from McCarthy.
They're throwing it. He's throwing it high. I want to buy into the talent that is Justin Jefferson, of course. And this is Donnie. This has to be one of the best numbers we've ever gotten on Justin.
You're never going to get it lower than this, probably
2 or 3 years. And you're betting on if you're betting on Justin Jefferson, you're like McCarthy. Just throw it 50%.
Yeah,
like just be competent. You don't need to be amazing.
Secondary and third options. We got Addison 39.5 and Naylor at 17.5 in this game. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch it play out and see how it goes. I stayed away. I don't have any real props in that game, but it's like I'm going to get. Hey, Justin Jefferson's got 48 yards at the half. I'm like, of course he does. Like, he's going to easily get that 63.5. A good game to watch. And again, good weather conditions in Green Bay for this time of year. So a dome team going outdoors, certainly not all that bad. All right, let's get back to it, Tom. 1 o'clock game, probably the best of it. Indianapolis and Kansas City. 61% of the tickets, Tom, coming on Indy. Look at this on game day right here, though. 4.5 we're back up to, Tom. 3.5 most of the week, 4.5 now as we start today. 49.5 is that total. Points are expected. Here's what I like about this game, Tom. And sometimes I like to listen to the coaches. We had you on early in the week talking to you as well. Andy Reid on a video camera interview. We got to run the ball more. We're calling running plays. They're just not making that, which means Mahomes is changing it here. I really like Kareem Hunt. You have 2 really good cornerbacks and an offense that needs to have stability on Kansas City and run the football. They didn't do it last week. Kareem Hunt's not having a big number, around 50 yards. I think he has a chance to score a touchdown and get the 50 yards in this game. How are you playing Indy today?
Really tough matchup. The fact that this line, when I was doing a show earlier this morning, 3.5 hours ago, was 3.5 and has moved a full point to 4.5.
It is.
People buying into Kansas City shocks me. I thought the 3.5 was a good number. Like, I thought that's where it should have been, maybe a flash to 3 quickly, but it's a really tough number to bet. The fact that you're getting 4.5, I don't know if people are buying into Daniel Jones' calf injury that he was dealing with. They said he should be good to go.
Fibula. I don't know what they're talking about.
Like what? I am very confused by this line movement. If anything, I thought it was going to move to 3, but I have a tough time not trusting Kareem Hunt, especially at a very favorable number.
By the way,
I don't think he rushes for 100, but him getting to 50 or 60 is very, very
the correlation for me was this, because I'm looking, and again, Pacheco's not there. He's going to be the lead guy. And I think his rushing player rush attempts was 14.5. So it's 14.5. So you go 14, let's call it 15 if he has to hit that, times 4, that's 60 yards. And you take a look at the 53.5, and that's only 4 yards per carry at that point, where it's like, okay, can he get a 8-yard run to sort of offset that? I think Kareem Hunt makes a lot of sense today, because I don't know if this game is going to be, oh, Indy's up 21-3. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think Indy runs away with this game, so that means the running game is going to be in it all the way through. But that is, if you're just reading lines, that's a Kansas City line at 4.5. The public can't give up on Kansas City. It's like, oh, Kansas City at home, they should win. I thought they would win last week, and they should have won. Instead, they tanked the second half of the fourth quarter and couldn't get a first down and go 3 and out, and they end up losing that one.
Yeah, I would not be betting Kansas City 4.5. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah. Any props for wide receivers in this game, Tom, you like?
Not really. If anyone, I would trust Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kelsey and go to Tyler Warren, but that's really it. This game is it's going to be exciting. It's tough to bet from.
Yeah, let me ask you this though, Tom. On that, Kansas City loses. Are they in the playoffs? I think they missed the playoffs if they lose this game.
They're not in it currently, right? Everyone says like, oh, if the playoffs ended today, they're not in it. So I would say if they lose this, the season's over.
Yeah, I firmly believe that, which, again, I thought that was the case last week as well. Oh, now's our chance to get back and win the division. They didn't win that game. They didn't play poorly, but they just didn't play Chiefs football. Like Patrick Mahomes under pressure was buckling there. I just think they can run the football, and we'll see what happens in this one here. All right, let's get back to the next 4 o'clock slate, Tom, 4:05, Jacksonville at Arizona. I'm going to ask you this question right now. And sometimes I get upset. And same thing to talk about Jaylen Warren. He's a perfect spot at this point right now, Jaylen Warren, a perfect spot. But it's a little bit banged up. I love ETN and Tootin this weekend, Tom. They're both banged up. Yeah. They almost have similar stat lines, like each one to get 50 yards, each one to have like 13.5 carries. I really wanted to take Bashal Tootin in this game, even to score a touchdown. How do you play this from Jacksonville's side of things against that porous Arizona defense?
I would trust ETN, and I don't know what you saw.
In that practice jersey, you couldn't touch him all week with the shoulder.
Yeah, so listen, I have Bashal Tootin on a dynasty team, so I am invested in him. I think ETN is still a great talent overall. I see 11.5 for ETN's rush attempts.
I think they're both at 11. Are they both at 11.5? They're
not listing Tootin, at least on FanDuel, for.
Yeah, where did I find Tootin? Hold on, I'm going to bring this up here. Keep going, because I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah, so the point is if ETN is going, I am assuming that it was more of a veteran rest throughout the week rather than he's actually dealing with a significant injury. That's how I view it. And Tootin came off the injury report, so he is good to go. I see it as very tough. I would say play both or play neither almost. I wouldn't want to pick. That's the difficult part that I'm having.
Yeah, let me see. I'm going to go to 365. I think they had that up here. So let's go, because I know I was looking at it. Rushing attempts. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me put this up here. Let's go 365, Tom. We got ETN 12.5, Bashal Tootin at 11.5 at this point. Now, this brings me up to the next thing. If you're looking, and let me just go back to, let's see here. We'll share this tab.
Tootin's not listed on DK either.
Yeah, some leagues he's not yet. So I had to go to 365 to find that. I was just trying to scurry through it. All right, now let's see the touchdown props here. He's up to 160 now, Tootin. Tootin was 135 yesterday, Tom. 145 early this morning. Now 160. Because if I'm trying to use my head. They like to use Tootin on the goal line. He scores touchdowns, right? If Travis Etienne's shoulder is banged up, what's the worst spot to give him the football? Wouldn't it be to just bang through bodies on the 1 yard line?
It would, and that would be the best number to get Tootin at would be plus 160 because, Donnie, it is very, very logical that Tootin falls under his rush props, but he still scores a touchdown, right?
Yes. I'm Tom, I am so between a rock and a hard place because I would love to take Bashal Tootin's number over 50 yards. And also, here's what I did today on this. I'm going to sit this one back. Sometimes you get those surprise inactives, or you get that Jay Glazer, Adam Schefter report that goes, hey, we just got word Bashal Tootin's going to be the starter. He's going to get the majority of the carries. I didn't bet this because I want to hold out, but that 160 is screaming at me right now to see if we get down to business. Anything else you like in that game, Tom? Because that was the one prop I was looking at here.
I wouldn't say anything else in that game. No, I
How about
think we've seen
Strange?
great
Strange is
stuff out
back,
of
though.
Michael Wilson. He had a
Brenton
massive
Strange is
game
back.
last week,
Come on now,
but
Brenton Strange. What do you think?
I wouldn't go there. I think he is a good talent, but it's just I don't know if it's the matchup of the first week back that I want to trust him.
All right, let's keep moving here. But that, again, Tootin is on my mind. And let's get to this next one here, Tom. This is a horrible game, but one I can't seem to shake right now. Look at the ticket count. 82% on Cleveland, 18% on Vegas. 2.5s, now to 3.5s and 3s, and even a 4 out there at the Westgate in Vegas right now, and a low total of 36.5. Now, the one part I find very interesting to me is the prop bets in this game, Tom. And I have a Ben DiNucci jersey, Tom, for games just like this, where I go, you know what? I don't need to have a really good game for Shedeur Sanders. I just need him to be somewhat competent to throw for 160 yards in this game, which will bring up the receiving props in a second. Shedeur Sanders today for you is what?
Really, really wide range of outcomes. And this is something, I talked about with Kevin. This is something I talked about with you briefly, where, Quinshon Judkins, his rushing attempts prop is 18.5.
Yeah.
And again, from a Browns perspective, if Kevin Stefanski is going in here and saying, I want to try and win this game, we're going to be as safe as possible, that probably doesn't mean Shedeur Sanders throwing the ball 35 times. However, to your point, speaking of reports, there was a report from Rappaport before saying the Browns expect to take, quote, plenty of deep shots, end quote, with Shedeur Sanders starting in week 12. So here's what I'm trying to now figure out. This is from 40 minutes ago.
Yes.
Does he have deep shots? And then if those don't come through, they then revert back to the running game. Because if he connects on one of those, they're like, okay, we got a little confidence. We got some juice here. Let's see what we have. But if he misses his shots, then they just say, okay, we gave you the change. You couldn't do it. All run game now.
Here's what's baffling to me at this point. Like, Shedeur Sanders has a 28.5 passing attempts prop, which means let's call it 30 to round it up. Let's just say he does get to 30. If he's horrible, it's supposed to be 15 of 30, Tom, which means there's 15 completions out there. If you're taking deep, like Jerry Jeudy is 33.5 yards. And also, Tom, we're not like Cleveland isn't playing their own defense today. Like they're playing a horrible defense on the other side. I'm getting caught up in this prop with Jerry Jeudy at 33.5. You know what else I'm getting caught up in the prop too? Look at his total receptions number. 3.5 is plus 134. 4 catches for Jerry Jeudy in this game.
Yeah, I like Jerry Jeudy this week. I spoke about him this morning. But like Cedric Tillman shouldn't be taking targets away from him. Correct. It should be Jerry Jeudy, Harold Fandon, David Njoku, and that's it. And at least in the passing game, Jerry Jeudy should be able to get to 30 yards, 35 yards, whatever it is. I do like him. Yeah. But again, I go back to the Ben DiNucci jersey. Like I piss myself off. I'm like, I'm going to take him. Like, of course he had 1 catch. Like Shedeur Sanders stinks out loud. Like, I don't think that's going to happen today. And also, we don't need him to get 50 yards. 35 yards in this game. 35. And to catch 4 balls at plus money as the number 1 wide receiver. Yeah. See how that one plays out. Any touchdown props in this game, though? Genty, no. I'm completely out on Genty. I don't want anything to do with him. Bauer seems like he's a little bit too chalky at this point. Trey Tucker. But Jeudy to score a touchdown is 460. I mean, I'd rather take a shot on that than almost anything else in this game. Like, it has a 36.5 total. We're going to get 4 touchdowns, basically. Now, this game, Tom, Atlanta, New Orleans, you got anything for this game? Alvin Kamara over 13.5 receiving yards. That's it. Tough game, man. That and the Falcons team total under 20.5. Gotcha. I mean, look at that. 1.5, 3.5 for the look ahead line for Atlanta. They start Kirk Cousins. They're down, top wide receiver in this game. You think it's going to be Bijan, and then they can just bottle up Bijan. I wanted nothing to do with this game, but now we got a good one at 4 o'clock. Not just because your boy's an Eagles fan. It says a lot of changing conditions, Tom. Look, headline 51.5. Now we're down to 47.5. Side in this, Philadelphia Eagles 3.5 for most of the week here. We're down to 3 again, and I agree with that. I'm not saying I loved what the Dallas Cowboys did on Monday Night Football, and that should change your opinion, right? Because that's ridiculous. But for me, I look at this and say, I think both of these teams move this football. And if the Eagles played in Green Bay, freezing cold temperatures, good defense, didn't move it that much. Okay. They played in freezing cold temperatures in Philadelphia with windy conditions. They didn't move it all that much against a decent defense in Detroit. There's no reason that the Philadelphia Eagles shouldn't move the football today. But if I had to pick one player out that I like in this one, it's Devonta Smith. It is. Yeah. It is. And the fact I wish so badly I had an under 51.5. Like you said, that's where things opened up.
Yeah.
I want that number. So it's 47.5.
Yep.
That's gone. But, Smith, I think, is a player that you can trust week in and week out. And I know, we got a donut from him last week. Let's just call it what it is after, the game-winning catch against Green Bay. Sometimes it happens. Like, Johnny, truth be told, the Eagles offense is struggling right now.
Yes.
And we will get this yo-yo effect from some of these players. So I just don't know. I don't know Smith's receiving prop off the top of my head.
It was around low. Wait a second. Is that 60, right? Wow.
16.5.
I'm telling you, a couple days ago, that was in the low 50s, brother.
Yeah. So, and this is part of it where
CLV.
Yeah, this is part of it where alting him up to that next rung on the ladder would have been an awesome play if you had it at the opening number. Yeah. Because, again, he could go, 2 catches for 20 yards in one game. The next catch is going 6 catches for 90 yards. So I'm on Smith this week. I think it's a fantastic look.
That's good CLV right there at this point right now. Now, understand this. What don't you like about the Philadelphia Eagles, Tom, over the past couple weeks? The passing game, just sluggish, right? It's either they're going to throw to A.J. Brown, they're going to throw to Devontae Smith. If that doesn't work, nothing else works out. This is pretty telling, though. Over 1.5 is minus 122 for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Usually you'd say they can't throw the football, they're struggling. The last thing you want to do is, throw touchdown passes, which then brings me to this. Minus 122 to throw 2 touchdowns. Answer me this question. Who's catching those touchdowns? Is it Barkley out of the backfield? No. Is it Calcaterra? Probably not. Dallas Goedert, maybe. But if you look at the touchdown scoring props today, again, I'll do this, Tom, and you know where I'm going. A.J. Brown, 145, Devontae Smith plus 175. If his touchdown prop is over 1.5 at juice, one of those two is catching a pass, if not maybe both of them. Like I did the same thing on Monday nights. Man, give me Ferguson, give me Pickens. Boom, boom.
Right to the window.
Good numbers. One of those two is scoring, Tom.
Right. I would say in any game, or if you looked at the totality of the season, Barkley, Brown, Smith, Goddard account for, let's call it 80% of the touchdowns for the Eagles.
Yes.
John Dotson's going to catch one, like you said, Grant Calcaterra catches one here or there, whatever it might be. Tank Bigsby, sure. But of those 4 players, we don't want to bet on Barkley at minus 110. Nope. Goddard Goddard can be good at times. He had a ton of touchdowns to start the year.
But he's not a 3-to-1 price, where it's like, okay, right. Take that price. Yep.
So again, if you took 2 of the 3, you're hoping for the exact same thing. You want 2 of the 3 to come through, and getting them both at plus money, I don't think there's a wrong way to go.
And we're in a dome, which I love, but also let's flip the coin on the other side, Tom. Dallas, look, I love the Eagles defense. It's really good. But Dak in the regular season at home in a dome is a very good quarterback with a sound running game like they do now with Javonte Williams and 2 dominant wide receivers. Look at them, Tom. 145, 165. I swear, if you take 4 of those, all 4 of those props, so if you go AJ and also Devontae Smith, now granted, they all made 4 score and you get a 47-to-1 price. That's not what I'm saying. 2 of them are going to score a touchdown today, which would be a very nice profit.
Right, and this is it's I don't want to say mind-numbing to try and chase that 47-to-1 price. They all scored. This game hit 50 points. We're not shocked. But the approach that we're taking is we want to look at things almost in a bubble. If you were to be just betting on Eagles Cowboys, and your bet would be, I'm going to bet on Brown and Smith to catch touchdowns, only one of them needs to come through. As you increase that, but you stick at plus money, you can be under 50% in win rate, but still come out net positive because of the plus money. Exactly. Donnie and I talk about this all the time with RBIs in baseball. It's the same approach you want to take.
Exactly. Take the guy in the 3 and the 4 hole against a bad pitcher. One of them gets an RBI, have a great day. Both get it, you nail it down. But I do think there's a legitimate chance all 4 of those guys can score a touchdown today. But if I had to pick one guy on Dallas, I think it would be Pickens again this week for me. Even though CeeDee Lamb scored last week along with Pickens, I just see maybe Quinyon Mitchell maybe following along. And when CeeDee lines up in the slot, it's going to be obviously on Cooper DeJean, who are very good. You're waiting for George Pickens to go into Dory. Dory's been very good the past couple weeks, but that's the guy you want to pick on. That may be the guy that Matt lines up most with him at that point. Any rushing props in this game? I look at Jalen Hurts 29.5, and I want to take that, but he just doesn't seem like he runs as much as he used to, so I sort of stayed away from that. Again, you know me, Tom. Tank Bigsby, 11.5. He's getting 3 carries today. I bet you he gets this, but I'm not going to bet it, and I'll be pissed when he has it at the half.
If you gave me 9.5 for Tank Bigsby, I would bet that 100%, not 11.5, though.
Yeah, good game out there at that point right now. Let's get a look at that final game on the card tonight, Tom. Sunday Night Football should be a good one as well. That's Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. Look at all the ticket count, Tom. 68% of the tickets here coming in on Tampa Bay. 6.5s, now 7s across the board. Not going to get Bucky back, but also Godwin is coming back. A total of 49.5. Both of these defenses like to bring heat, and they have very good pass rushes. I haven't bet this game yet. I want to spend a little bit more time in the afternoon, Tom. Do you have anything for Tampa Bay and Los Angeles?
At this point, I don't. I'll also be doing the show tonight to cover it, throughout the game. But I would take the points with the Bucks. A 7 is a lot to lay, especially coming off the loss that they are. And this is a bigger matchup than what they had last week. I know a lot of people hyped up last week, but this is an NFC matchup. Last week was not. So picking up an in-conference win is more valuable than AFC win last week would have been against the Bills. But I like the Bucks, and frankly, I like the under. 49.5 is a bit much. Again, I don't want to take like a cop-out answer, but 24-20 gives us a competitive football game. And we have seen the Rams, despite how good they've looked, Donnie. Yeah. They almost lost last week against the Seahawks when Sam Darnold threw 4 picks. There was a late field goal for them to potentially win it. The Rams look good, but it's like they take their foot off the gas, and you can't do that against Baker.
Now, look at this, Tom. We can't do a double up on Los Angeles, right? Like, I'm going to take 150 and 120. Like, that's the way you do it. 1 out of 2, you lose money on this. Who is your double up, though? Because Tampa is going to score. Who's your double up in this game? Is it running back? Like, is Sean Tucker going to blast one in, Rashad White? Or if you just go, let's say, Ibuka and also Godwin, who's back, which is hard to sometimes trust him. But that's a $330 price. Who would you go with as a double up for Tampa tonight?
It's the first two. Sean Tucker is legit good. He's a legit good running back, and I believe in the talent that Emeka Ibuka is. So it would just be those two.
You would go back. So you would go Ibuka and Tucker in the double up.
And maybe if I wanted to chase higher plus money, I would go Tucker Otten.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go past there. Their offense is very condensed.
Yeah.
When Bucky and Mike Evans are still out.
There you go, Tom. Have fun today on this show, huh? All the way through. Kickoff coming up in about 2 minutes right now. Leave the people with something that you got today. What do you got?
Really like Sam Darnold today. Really like him to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns. They should do it. Like I said, I like Alvin Kamara over 13.5 receiving yards. He should be able to get there. I'm on the Vikings plus 6.5. I think they're live for the upset today. And I think it's going to be a big Quinshon Judkins game for the Browns.
Kicking up at one of my premiums that I gave up to the people. Tom, I love it, though. Lions over 3.5 touchdowns today, minus 125. Probably a little bit higher today. They're scoring. Tommy likes them to get 35. I agree with it. If you want to even alt it to 40, I would not be, because the Detroit doesn't care about anybody's feelings. They care about getting right. And if that means they have to score 45 today, like you saw Notre Dame get yesterday, just to get right and say we're good, that's what's going to happen here. All right, we're done, Tom. Monday Night Football. We'll be back tomorrow for Carolina and San Francisco. You might look at that game like that stinks. No, it doesn't, man. From our perspective and 50 points, we'll have some fun talking about that game tomorrow. But, guys, good luck on your wagers. For Tom Vecchio and Donnie Wright, I will see you again.